Hello and welcome back to GCSE Help YouTube channel. For this episode, we are going to be learning how to do quadratic, how to solve quadratics. But first, we need to learn the basics. This is a linear graph that you're seeing on the screen here. So it passes through one point on the x-axis and goes straight through. It's just a straight line. However, quadratic line, it bends and it touches the x-axis here at two different points. So there's many ways on how to solve a quadratic. So the first way we're going to solve the quadratic is by factorizing. So here we can see that x squared minus x minus 12 is equal to 0. So here, imagine there was a 1 over here. What is in front of the x is minus 1, and what is in front of the third number, so our c, is negative 12. The sum of two different numbers is going to be negative 1, and the product of these same two different numbers is going to be negative 12. So we need two numbers, because what we need to get here factorized is x and x here plus or minus whatever, and plus or minus whatever on this equals to 0. So what we need to do here is find two numbers. So these two numbers that add to give negative 1 and multiply to give negative 12 are minus 4 and plus 3. Because negative 4 times 3 is negative 12 and negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. What we do here now is x minus 4 equals 0 and x plus 3 equals 0. Because we need two answers. Because as we saw in decimals earlier, there are two times where the graph is touching the x-axis. So here the answer would simply be x equals 4 and x equals negative 3. Now we move on to a more harder equation where there's actually a coefficient or a number at the start of the x squared. So what we need to do here is times this number by our last number. So we give 10 at the end. Imagine there was a 10 there. So we need a sum of 7 and a product of 10. So we're going to actually now split the 7x into our two different numbers, which is 5 and 2, because 5 plus 2 gives 7 and 5 times 2 gives 10. So we're going to get 5x squared plus 5x plus 2x, which gives 7x overall, plus 2. So we're going to go back to our 2, which was at the start of the equation. What we need to do here is now split this equation in half and factorize both sides. So here we take out 5x, x plus 1. And here we take out 2, and we get x plus 1 again. Make sure that these two equations are the same, because that is going to be one of our factorized forms. The other factorized form is going to be these starting two numbers. So we're going to get 5x plus 2 and also x plus 1 equals 0. Now we do the same thing as earlier. 5x plus 2 equals 0. X plus 1 equals 0. And so we're going to get 5x equals negative 2. X equals negative 2 over 5. And x is equal to negative 1. Another way to solve a quadratic is through completing the square. So here we have, teachers like to overcomplicate this a lot, but we need to find a, b, and c. So the a is going to always be the coefficient of our x squared, and then we're going to always have x here. Now what we need to do is divide this 6 by 2, because we're squaring. We're dividing it by 2 because we're going to have two different brackets. When you factorize it out, it's going to be times by 2. And also by the coefficient. So we're going to be doing 6 divided by 2, 3, divided by 2, 1.5. So minus 1.5. We're going to square that. And then we need to find c. To find c, we're going to do 1.5, negative 1.5 times negative 1.5, which gives us 9 over 4. And then we're going to also times it by the 2 on the outside. and that should give us 9 over 2, which is 4.5. Now we take that 4.5 away from the 5, so we do 5 minus 4.5 to give us 0.5, which will be our C, plus 0.5. So if we were to expand all of this out, all of this equation out, we would get 2x squared minus 6x plus 5 is equal to 0. So here, when you put in the answer, make sure to always put it in correctly. See the minus here, we don't want to get caught out by that. So it would be 1.5, not minus 1.5 ever. And this would be 0.5. Lastly, to solve our quadratic when it is not solvable by the factorization method, this is a much easier method using a formula which you can put on your calculator. So an example for this is not solvable because you can't factorize it out into whole numbers, so it would take you way too long. So here all we have to do is substitute each value, each coefficient, so minus b would be minus 2, b would be minus 2, c would be minus 4, and a would be 3. And we substitute each and every number into these according spots to give us an answer. Very simple, very easy. Make sure you always do two different equations, because here we have plus and minus. So you would need to do minus b plus root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, and also minus b minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And that should give you two different x values always. And even if they don't come out as whole numbers, don't worry about it, because it normally shouldn't come out as a whole number if it asks you to use the quadratic formula. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to subscribe.